All right, let's say I want to play a chord progression in G major. A 1-4-5 is pretty common, so let me show you what that'll look like first, and then we'll go from there. In a chord progression like that, sometimes what you hear is an F major also being thrown in. I'll play it and you'll probably recognize that sound. That F major is a borrowed chord. Now, why is it a borrowed chord? Well, first we want to understand the first three chords that I played, the G major, the C major, and the D major, are all part of the same scale. The notes are coming from the scale of G major. If you look at the notes of G major, the only F that's in there is an F sharp. The F sharp shows up in the D major chord itself. So then when I follow the D major with an F major chord, there's some kind of a discrepancy there. So that is why it's a borrowed chord. It's being borrowed from some other scale or from some other tonality. In this case, it's from G mixolydian. Let's look at the G mixolydian scale. The G mixolydian is basically a major scale, but the seventh note is flat. So you get an F natural note, and that also produces the F major chord. Now they're similar sounding scales. They both have G major as their tonic chord. So the change is not too jarring. It's still similar. So your ear kind of forgives that little change, and it also kind of spices up an otherwise kind of typical, maybe cliche chord progression. Let me give you one other example in a minor tonality. When I play a G natural minor scale, I'll see an A show up. So the A natural is the second note in the scale. But then I went to a G sharp or an A flat major chord at the end. One more time. So if we know from the F major chord that there should not be an A flat or a G sharp note in the scale, then again, there's another discrepancy. So the A flat major chord is another example of a borrowed chord, but this time in a minor tonality. This is coming from G Phrygian, because a G Phrygian scale is just like a G natural minor, except the second note is flat. So this is generally good examples of what you hear from borrowed chords, especially in mainstream music. You want to keep the borrowing from similar tonalities. You can do something more jarring from like major to minor, like a parallel G major to G minor, but the change can be sometimes a little more jarring, so I would start with this to get your ears acclimated to the sound.